and you're in high school and you get in this relationship with
Mm-hmm.
someone who is 11 years your senior.
Yes.
Okay. And what did that relationship look like?
It was the beginning of domestic violence, but it was domestic abuse. So I was in a relationship with a gentleman who decided, well, he passed away today. He's no longer alive. But it was
Oh.
a lot of the people you hang out with are not good people for you. Um, you're not the best looking girl, so I know, you're. I'm the only person that is gonna want you. You'll never graduate out of high school, huh?
He told you that you weren't pretty?
Yeah, he was like, you're not pretty at all. Nobody's gonna want you. I'm the only person that finds anything attractive about you. It was mental abuse.
Okay,
Mental
guys,
and
I am going to insert a picture of her right here because she is so pretty. That just goes to show you that it does not matter if you are the most beautiful person in the world. It doesn't matter if, the most beautiful person to the world. I don't think anybody's not attractive. Everybody has something that's attractive to them. But she's one of those people that I don't see how somebody could not say that she's pretty, but that goes to show that when someone wants to manipulate you, they will use
hmm
whatever that they have that they know is maybe something that will get to you. So a young girl hearing that she is not pretty from a male who is her senior, and remember she was looking to get into an environment where she was safe and get around somebody she was safe. So there's a trust there that goes with that. And that's why she believed that she was not pretty. But I'll put her picture right here because that's not true. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, he stressed it. This was something he wanted to make sure that I understood that I'm not good looking, and without him, I'm going to be nobody. And it got to the point where I started to believe I wasn't pretty. But at that moment, I didn't care. It's like he's still protecting me. At the end of the day, that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at where I came from and where I'm at, and I'm like, okay, he's still protecting me. Okay,
Okay.
he's still protecting me. Okay, I might not be pretty, but he's still protecting me. I might not be smart, but he's still protecting me. So no matter how I try to uplift myself, I still find a reason why I should stay until I started to learn who I am. And I say that to say nobody should ever know you better than yourself, no matter what age you are, no matter what sex you are. Nobody should know you better than you. And what I mean by that is nobody should know your strengths better than you. Nobody should know your weaknesses better than you. And I turned my weaknesses into a strength. And my biggest weakness at that point was vulnerability. Like, you can tell me anything, and I believe that. If you told me that you won the lottery and you're going to give me $1,000, I would wait years for you to give me that thousand. Like, I was so vulnerable to things that people would say. And then I started to realize that people were using that because it was a weakness of mine. And they used it as their strength because then they can manipulate anything that they wanted where I was concerned because of that weakness.
Right.
So I had to learn who I was. And that's when I decided that our relationship, on top of the fact that my friend is somebody that he slept with, I had to walk away because I felt like I stayed in this relationship through all of the crap, through all of the insults, through all of the negative things that he had to say to me or about me. I stayed. But to turn around and sleep with my best friend at the time, that was it. Because I was very loyal to my friends. I felt like my friends were family to me, so I would put my last dollar out for them every single time. And that's what made me walk away from that relationship. I don't believe in cheating. I think if you're in a relationship that you think is no longer healthy, Instead of finding somebody else and involving them in it, you just walk away from the current one, step back and look at the things that you need to readdress about yourself before entering into another one.
Right. So even in high school, now this is a high school relationship where you are dating someone who is very much your senior, and he is now moved on to dating your best friend as well.
Yes.
And the best friend knew of his behavior towards you as well, and that was not a concern.
No, it wasn't a concern for her. She knew because a lot of times it took place right in front of her. So it wasn't a secret. It wasn't a secret at any means, and she knew. And she was comfortable with it. And she went ahead.
Okay, so do you feel like the main part that made you leave was his behavior towards you, or at that point you didn't feel that he was someone that was protecting you, which is what you were looking for? Hello? I think she got dropped again, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and start on this eye while we wait for her to reconnect. Just want to do a simple smoky eye, honestly.
I apologize. I got kicked out again.
That's okay. That is quite all right. I recognize it, and I just we just stopped talking, waiting for you. Okay.
So, to answer your question, because I did hear your question before I got kicked out. The main thing that made me leave was his behavior. Him cheating at my age, that was something that I'm not gonna say it's normal, but it's something that you hear about all the time. You know, guys can't be fake.
Right.
But his behavior caused me to leave him because I felt like when I thought about it, you're manipulating me. You have manipulated me. You've made me feel like the bottom of earth. That's only good enough for you. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
But to turn around and manipulate another female to think the exact same thing, I'm not the issue, you are.
So he kind of exposed himself.
Correct.
In your eyes.
Correct. He showed me who he was. See, in the beginning, I'm thinking, like I said, no matter how bad he is, he's protecting me. That's where my mind kept bouncing back and forth between. But then at some point, I had to learn to protect myself, even from the people that I think are protecting me. And that's when I put that wall up. It was over with. You know, and I walked away. And even at the point where I walked away, he used to say, you know, I'm the only person that's going to love you. I'm the only person that is going to want you. You know, you're not pretty enough to be with anybody else. And I told him, I would rather be alone than be pretty enough to be with you.
At any point, did you tell the adults in your family that you were dating this guy?
My mother.
Did your mother to get you not to date him?
She did not. Her response to it was, I would rather know about it than you sneak behind my back and do it.
And sometimes that needs to be the answer. So I get it. It does, because as you know, some kids are going to do what they want to do, especially when they have the access to do what they want to do. So it's better to protect them in those instances by letting them have the trust and the outlet of being able to keep you informed, so at least you know they're okay. Especially at that age, you were a senior in high school already. So you already, you know, about to be legally grown. So, there's only so much a parent can do sometimes. I still vote
You're
to
right.
try, but yeah, I think that, I could understand where your mom would have been coming from. When did you realize that this was not a healthy relationship? Was there one particular thing you can remember that just like turned the lights on for you?
I did. So I went to junior prom, and I couldn't go with him. Of course not. He's not in high school. But there was a guy that I went to school with, and he basically worshipped the ground I walked on. And I asked him all the time, "Why do you like me? I'm ugly and I'm this and I'm that." And he said, "You have no idea who you are." He
Mm,
kept saying that. That was his response. He kept saying it over and over. So the year that I broke up with him, I went to junior prom um, prior to the breakup. And he was there. The guy was there. And he said, "You are the most beautiful girl in this room. And you didn't even work hard to be that person." He said, "All these other girls, they put on makeup, they did their hair, they did all these things. And all you did was put on a dress and curled your hair. And you're the most beautiful girl in this room." And I said to myself, I go above and beyond for the guy that I'm dating to be somebody that is not the ugly girl he claims me to be. And here it is this guy, I'm not dating him. I just go to school with him. We don't see each other that often. And he can tell me how I outshined all the other females in his room. And it was easily about 150 of us. I outshined that person. I never compared my appearance. That I was never that person to look at somebody and say, "Oh, I want to look like them," or "That person looks better than me." I was never that person because I don't care. Everybody has their level of beauty. Some
right,
can be seen and some can't. So I was
right,
never that person. But for him to tell me that, it just told me that, first of all, I'm attracted to somebody my age. So
right,
I'm already backtracking and realizing, okay, mistake number one, you know? But then on
right.
top of that, he sees me for who I am and not who I want to be for somebody else. And after junior prom, I went home, sat with my grandmother and told her how much fun I had, got up the next day, and I called him and I said, I don't think this relationship is going to work out anymore. I don't think it's going to work out anymore. We've been, through it this long, and at this point, it's just not going to work out anymore. And I left.
Did he try to get you to stay or anything like that, or use um, any abusive tactics to get you to stay, or any manipulative tactics to get you to stay?
He said one thing. The only thing he said, he was like, "You'll be back." That was it. He didn't fight me. He didn't argue with me. He didn't try anything. He just said, "You'll be back."
And did you go back?
Nope.
Guess you proved him wrong.
And that's one thing I have never done. Um, I never go backwards. If I leave a relationship, I may have regrets once I leave that relationship, but I never go back.
Right. It's normal to have fears, when you're with someone and then it is no longer. That's normal to, it's uncomfortable because now you're getting comfortable being, in another relationship or by yourself or what. It's an
Hmm.
adjustment. And
Hmm.
anything like that is an adjustment, and that's okay. So that's, normal. So after you were done with that relationship, um, what did your next relationship look like? Did you utilize what you had learned about yourself um, to build better relationships?
So my
Or
next
healthier
relationship,
relationships?
I used what I thought I learned about myself. And I say that because we as people try to fix the problems we think we have. They're not necessarily problems or issues because we look at things that are issues to other people, we make them become our issues. And I'll explain why I said that. So the next relationship I went into, was with somebody that I knew. We were friends. And that's where I decided from after the first one, I said, the next relationship I go into, the person has to be my friend first. Because during the friendship, you get to learn who people are. You see who they are.
This thing is not being very kind to Azzure. She's gonna beat me up. Oh, you can hear me? I'm like, she's gonna beat me up. This thing kicking her out.
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. So the next relationship, I decided I'm going to be friends first with the person. So he inspired me to go to culinary school, which I went to culinary school, did 2 years, got my associates in international baking and pastries, and then when I tried to move back home, my grandmother said, no, you can't come back here until you have a bachelor's degree. So I was like, I don't want to go for a bachelor's degree, and she said you have to. So I stayed an additional year, got my bachelor's, and when I was finished, I decided, well, I'll try to make it because it was here in Florida. So I'll try to make it here. And he called. I literally was about 6 to 8 months into a job. It wasn't anything in the kitchen or anything that I got my degree on. And he called and he said, hey, I was told that you graduated, you have your bachelor's degree. I have a position here, and you'll be my pastry and pantry chef. And I said, that actually sounds interesting, but what would I be doing? He said, I'm the executive chef of a French restaurant. What you'll be doing is making salads. You'll be making all the desserts, and it'll give you the opportunity to be very creative because I know you're fresh out of school. You don't have any experience under your belt with culinary, so they'll still give you the experience you need. And home is where a girl's heart is. So he gave me the opportunity to pack up everything. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Pack everything, move back home to the Virgin Islands, be with my grandma, who is my heart, teach her everything that I've learned because she was literally the push. You know, as a child growing up, I watched her bake cakes and breads and tarts and all these fun things every holiday season. So, you know, I wanted to be able to do what she did, but better. So
Aww.
I went ahead and did that, moved back home. When I got home, I started working for him. He was had just been got he was separated from his marriage for about 3 months. And again, we are friends. And I said to him, I said, well, what's going to happen with the marriage? You know, you guys are living in two different places. You know, you should work on this. And he was like, I don't think she wants me. I said, well, you never know what a woman wants until you have a conversation with her. Have a
Right.
conversation with her and find out where you went wrong, if there's any repair for the marriage, before you just assume that it's over. I'm that person. I'm the hype person behind marriages. I just believe marriages are supposed to be forever. My grandparents have been married for 60 years and they
Aww.
stayed together through everything. The cheating, the gambling, the loss of money, they stayed together for everything. So I feel like you could always work on a marriage. Don't
You
walk
can.
away putting in a fight.
You can, because there's vices in everything. Nothing is going to be perfect.
Correct.
So that means that either the man or the woman should just go out living all willy-nilly like, oh, well, they said, you know, we could make it through anything. So I just decided to do everything. That's not what we said. That's
Correct.
not what we said. You know, we're saying that, you know, people are human, and when mistakes, not intention, happens or there's a habit, that it can be worked through. Don't
Yes.
be coming back talking about Azzure and Asia said. No, we didn't.
No, no, no. You work on problems. And that
Right.
even goes for friendships. You know, don't end a friendship without working on it because, and I'll pause on the conversation about my relationship to say, I had a friendship with a friend, and we were friends since I was in second grade. We stopped being friends because she betrayed my trust. You know, when you have a friend that long, from second grade all the way through, you know, you tell them everything. There's nothing that they don't know. And
Right.
she told all my secrets to my worst enemy. And that girl, yes, that girl stood in class one day and told everybody. These are
Oh,
secrets that the only people that know is family. And she told everybody. And that's where our friendship ended. And this was in 11th grade that I ended that friendship. It took me until my second year in college to try to work it out. And we tried, and it didn't work. And at that point, I realized that some friendships just can't be repaired. But you will never know that if you don't work on it.
correct. Agreed. So you should at
So
least try. I will
at
agree with
least try. Yes, at least try. Sometimes you don't have to go all in. It could be something as simple as just having a mere conversation just to see where both parties are at. And maybe at the end of the conversation, you can work on it slowly, or you will realize that there is no repair. It was too far damaged to be repaired.
that.
But
Right.
again, you never know without trying to fix it. So
Right.
to go back to the conversation, I try to get him to work on his marriage because, again, I feel like marriages are very, very deep. I don't think you just wake up one morning and decide that you want to go to a courthouse or spend $10,000 and have a wedding to just end it abruptly without trying to work on it.
Right.
And, that's what I pushed him to do. I'm like, work on it, see what happens, talk to her. And he tried, and she
Oh, can't hear her. Again. Please hold. While we're holding, I'm speeding up this part. Wait, actually, that's not impression.
back.
Okay.
So yeah, she was done. She didn't want anything to do with the relationship she was done with. And we remained friends. I helped them go through what I thought was a heartbreak. Again, people are manipulative. So what I thought
Mhm.
was a heartbreak, I helped him go through that. And then I want to say maybe about 3 to 6 months afterward, we engaged in a relationship. Um, and it started off very well. We had fun. We exchanged a lot of ideas. We shared a lot of points because not only now at this point, he's not only my boyfriend, but he's also my boss.
Right.
What don't ever do.
Huh.
Take heed, don't ever do. um, but yeah, he was also my boss. And it really started out very well. And then at some point, I can't even I know what the point was. So with me being the pastry chef at the restaurant now, um, it started to get competitive because I'm not the executive chef. So the executive chef is a person in the kitchen that knows how to do everything. There's
Right.
nothing that happens in the kitchen that he or she does not know how to do. I'm the pastry chef, I'm the pantry chef. So I just do the salads or cool foods and the desserts. So I'm the person that you see in the beginning, and I'm the person that feeds you at the end. so
Okay.
if I do something wrong in the beginning and you don't stay for dessert, so that's where my job was. It was to keep you in a restaurant long enough keep you to enjoy the appetizer, but keep you to want the dessert. And
Okay.
I made changes to the desserts that he already had in place. Now, again, I'm fresh out of culinary school, so there's a lot of things that has changed between me going to culinary school and him going to culinary school. Um, Techniques, not flavor competitions, flavor compatibilities. I had, first of all, I'm a female, and for some reason, I think female taste buds are a little bit better than male taste buds. So I tasted things differently, and I could find like the spark to add to flavors to make it what we wanted it to be. And no matter every time something would change, if we did our Grand Marnier chocolate mousse, and every time we make a batch, the waiters have to taste it so that they can rant and rave about it to the
Right.
customers. So when they started tasting my stuff, it was, oh, your stuff is better than his. And I'm
Oh
like,
Lord.
don't say that. Yeah, I'm like, don't say that because I'm just doing it the way that I think it should be done.
Right.
Starting with the chocolate mousse, and then with the cheesecakes, he used to do basic cheesecakes. It was raspberry cheesecake, mango cheesecake, strawberry cheesecake. Those three flavors. So every week we had a different cheesecake, and that's what it was for him. Those three flavors, and it for the customers it was it's the same thing over and over. I don't want it. For the wait staff, it was we need to find something new because the cheesecake was the priciest dessert item on the menu, but it wasn't
Oh.
selling. It wasn't selling because nobody would buy it. So then one time, this was before I moved home, and we had a conversation and we were talking about flavors. He said to me, if you ever want to think about flavors, just walk down the juice aisle in a grocery store. And that's something I kept in my mind all my life. Since he told me that, I kept it there, kept it there. So one day after work, I'm like, these waiters are complaining about the flavors. Let me go down the juice aisle. And they had, Welch's have these awesome juice flavors. You got
Oh, yes.
guava, pineapple, you got strawberry, mango, you got passion fruit, you have, anything you could think of, it was there. So I
Mm-hmm.
said, I'm going to see what we have in the freezer and create a flavor. So the first flavor I did was a passion fruit white chocolate cheesecake.
Mm.
And the sweetness from the white chocolate with the tartness from the passion fruit gave it like a pop. It was a really nice pop. And the wait staff went crazy. They literally sold that out within the first night. Now, this is
Wow.
a cheesecake that's supposed to last the entire week. So we basically made a new batch every 2 days. But the first night, they sold it all. Then I'm like, okay, they like this. Let me find something else. Then I did like a mango strawberry. And I kept changing the flavors so you would hear them. Oh my gosh, ever since you came, this is what's happening. The customers like this. We like the stuff. It's a better quality. It doesn't look like this. He didn't like that. So it
Mm.
started to become almost like as if I was being insubordinate. Um, you're not doing what I tell you to do. You're doing what you want to do, and people don't like this. And I'm like, how are you telling me that people don't like it, but they're being sold out? The customer's asking for more. The wait staff is asking for more. And it was this constant competition. Um, if I would be off for 2 days, he would try to do something better. But then the wait staff didn't like it because whatever he used in it, it didn't taste good, the flavors weren't compatible. But he would always try to outdo me. I'm not a competitive person. I don't believe in competition. That's just not who I am.
Mm-hmm.
um, and with that competition in the kitchen, it spilled into the relationship because now when we get off, it's, oh, you think you're somebody. You're just a little stupid girl that went to culinary school and she nobody. You don't even have a real degree. And it was stupid. The things he would say was like so bizarre. Sometimes I was like, do you realize you don't make sense? You're not making
Right. And where is this even coming from?
Yeah, and I even asked him one, I'm like, why are you so angry at me? Like, we're supposed to be a partnership. This is something we're supposed to be doing together. Don't
Right.
belittle me to make me feel less of a person because you're not in agreement or you're not getting the response that you hope to receive. And it kept escalating from there. It was you'll never be good in the kitchen. Um, then in the relationship world, it was he went back to the whole you're not pretty enough, you're not this, and
Oh my
because of
gosh.
yeah, and because of what happened in the past, I'm like, let me explain something to you. If you're gonna insult me or you're gonna find something to insult me with, that's not the right term because I'm
Right.
confident in who I am. Whether you think I'm pretty enough or not, I'm confident with who I am. And he kept going and kept going, and the little things started happening where he wanted to spend all his money and all his time in the strip clubs, and I am not competing with a dancer. I'm not doing that.
Right.
um, and it just got to be too much. It was too much. I don't think a healthy relationship should cause so much stress. You shouldn't be so stressed out in a relationship. A relationship, you should be, if you have a hard day at work, going home to the person that you're in a relationship with or being able to talk to them on the phone should be a happy thing, not a stressful thing. And it got really too stressful. And I said, this is the point where I'm going to draw the line. And I used to stay over at his house a lot because he lived closer to the restaurant. So the nights where I work, I would stay at his house, and the nights where I didn't work, I would go home. Um, and I said, I'm gonna come to your house. I'm gonna grab my things, and I'm gonna go home. And when I got in the house, he locked the door. What I thought he did was lock the door. And I said, I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. I made sure I had all my things. I said, I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. And he said, you don't want to be in a relationship with me anymore. I said, no, I don't. He said, okay. I said, fine. Can you unlock the door? So I went, he made the noise as if he unlocked the door when in actuality he locked it. And the way his door locked is it locked deadbolt with a key. So if the key is in there, you can't get out.
Oh, wow.
So he removed the key. And I went to the door, turned the knob, couldn't get out. So I got annoyed because now at this point I'm over with. I already, broke off the relationship. I'm ready to go. And I called my friend on the phone and I'm like, this is why I just had to break up with him, because everything for him is a joke. Like, I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. And he came out of nowhere. Literally, I didn't see him coming. I didn't hear him coming. And I was in the air and he body slammed me. With the time that I hit the floor, there was a knife in my chest.